Smackdown by Adam Silver. John Morant suspended 25 games to start next year
Yeah.
for all of his stupid gun antics.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that?
So this was funny because he had the initial second video. I'm like, I don't want to talk about John Morant flashing a gun again until they actually suspend him or do something. Well, they suspended him. And I think it's funny that John Morant thinks the NBA is after him for flashing a gun when you are getting paid $200 million. And then he said that the NBA is after me and I feel like they're targeting me. And it's like, how in the world is the NBA targeting you when they already suspended you before for this? And then people were pushing for you to get suspended for the whole playoffs last year, which he probably should have to stamp this out. But you do this again. It's like, how stupid are you? Because it's like you go through, I get the first time, and like if it's a one time thing, I get it. But the fact that he is repeatedly just doing this, and then his team tried to claim, like, oh, you don't have any proof that this is a real gun. And then he said when he met with the NBA, John Morant went into the office and he said heavy drinking is what contributed to it. And basically, he was in a place where he was so faded that he kind of just had the gun and flashed it on live. And it's like, yeah, that's cool if you're a Twitch streamer or you're a rapper. You're one of these guys like Zerka on Twitch who like went viral by posting like videos of people fighting because he used to be a bouncer and then he flashed a gun on his first live and went super viral. Like, that's fine. However, you're an NBA player. There's a certain standard that you kind of have to upkeep, and the fact that you're making $200 million and you're trying to play a victim, like when I'm depressed or if I get crossed, I don't really have the urge to pull out one of my guns and show it in front of a camera. Like, I really don't. Like, maybe I'll try and text someone I shouldn't be texting and like text someone like something stupid. Maybe you have like one of those bad calls, like everyone's been there before, or maybe you steal a traffic cone, allegedly. So like you can do any of those things, but I've never had the idea like, oh yeah, let me just flash a gun on screen. Like, I get it if you're a rapper, and I get he's a young NBA player and he will learn from this. And like 25 games, I think that's a pretty good suspension. Don't want to see him gone for the whole year, but it's like, I don't think you should be blaming like being depressed on like and linking that to flashing a gun. Like, I don't see the connection there.
Yeah, I mean, in life we have our trials and tribulations. We're not always happy. Sometimes we do have depression, and that's a very real thing, especially in the NBA when you got people talking about you. But if you're blaming your depression on why you acted out like this could be a very bad course of action for him.
Yeah.
Also, for the NBA being against him. If they were against you, they would have suspended you indefinitely, or at least for a season. You
Yeah.
want to talk about a league that was against somebody? Josh Gordon, prime example. He got suspended for weed. His career was over because of it. His own trial and tribulations, also some stupid policies from the NFL. I digress. But John Morant, they suspended you for 25 games, which I think is a harsh enough penalty where you get the message, but a good enough where it doesn't ruin your season. So for Ja, I think you should be blessed that they only gave you 25 games because they could have easily given you more. They could have really laid the hammer down and
Yeah.
set an example. But they understand that you're going through something and they're here for you. Same with Memphis, same with the NBA as a whole. They want to see you thrive. You're a great talent for the league, you're a good brand. Um, but you got to figure your shit out, man. I mean, this is somebody who is only 23 years old. He's making $200 million. But you're also the face of the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah.
When people think about the Grizzlies, they're going to think about you. They're going to think about Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bane, all these other guys on that team. But you're the face of the franchise. You don't see Steph Curry doing this. You don't see LeBron. You don't see all these other star players, De'Aaron Fox. You get the idea, doing this because they know what it takes and what they need to do to represent themselves accordingly when you have a billion-dollar brand. And for him, really hope he cleans up his act because if not, this could potentially really affect his career moving forward. And I don't want to see that for him.
Yeah, I don't want to see it for Ja either. And like what I hate is like, especially when you have like that much money, just being willing to like throw it away. And I get if it was a one-time thing and you were blackout drunk and you flashed a gun, but like the one in the car is what gets me. And the fact that I get if you grow up with your friends and you don't really want to like sever that connection. I'm not saying get new friends. However, I would say like, yeah, I already got suspended for this. So like, I can't be like flashing guns anymore, and it'd probably like challenge them to like help you keep stay accountable, and then we can all grow together. But also, there's a lot of pressure on a lot of players in the NBA, and you're the only one doing this. Jason Tatum, sure, there's a lot of pressure on there. Jaylen Brown, I'm always getting thrown around in trade talks. It's like Donovan Mitchell, like in Utah, was never able to get it done. De'Aaron Fox, his whole career, he was kind of
KD.
KD. It's like you're the only one that's like I like am dealing with all this pressure and going through it now, and I'm flashing guns. Like you're the only one doing that, and like James Harden is one of the biggest partiers in the NBA. James Harden never did this in his career. James Harden keeps his party low key. James Harden's someone who understands, like, I'm not throwing the bag away because you know what James Harden loves more than basketball? Money. He had that massive contract with Adidas. He was in Houston. He got his jersey retired in a gentleman's club his first 6 weeks of being with the Houston Rockets. Like he's someone that understands partying more than anybody else. He's not out there flashing guns. It's like I don't want to be that guy. It's because like pro gun, everything like that, and I don't want to like drag it through the mud anywhere. But like you're the only one doing this, and it's like I would get it if like every other young player was like going through that and it was the way that they were dealing with pressure. But it's like no, no excuses. This is something that's on you. You're the only player doing this, so it's time to figure it out. Like it's time to figure it out. And I don't want to be one of these people like, oh, you need to go get help. Like, no, you're a grown up. You're making $200 million. Figure it out.
Yeah. And another player who needs to figure it out. We'll see if any other comments about it.
Yeah, I do have one more because if you're in a spot where you're kind of like edgy or you're feeling like on edge, just like flashing that and like letting people know that's kind of an invite for some people. And there are people out there that will test you on the street to see if you're actually about that. Because if you're like some rappers will put out that image and then people on the street will actually test them. Like, okay, are you actually about that? So, like, if you're feeling on edge, probably the worst thing you could do is inviting conflict. So it's like, I don't think you need additional conflict and people on the street now trying to test you because some people will. Some people will.